My humble greetings. How may I serve you?
How are the Talmberg folk getting on? Is it peaceful here?
Do you even have to ask? Some poachers have settled in the woods near the inn. A right band of them too. The master huntsman's at his wit's end with them. And maybe he could use your help.
Goodbye. Yeah.
God be with you.
Master Huntsman, is there any work for me here?
There's always something that needs doing. You're that Skalitz lad, aren't you? Sir Radzig's lackey.
Sir Radzig is my liege, and I serve him faithfully. But that doesn't make me a lackey.
As you wish. What matters to me is that you're no layabout looking for easy work. I have a job here I can't give to just anyone.
I'm listening.
We've been having terrible problems with poachers lately. In Sir Divish's forests, we've been finding gutted entrails of deer and rabbit nooses all over the place. But no sign of the bastards who put them there.
And you want me to track down the poachers?
Indeed. Whatever you learn will be useful to me.
Do you suspect anyone?
Well, it's hard to say, but seeing how much harm they're causing, I'd say they're no crofters looking for a Sunday roast.
Shouldn't you be dealing with the poachers yourself?
I should, you're quite right. But when I ask the local folk anything, their mouths close up like clams. They're more scared of me than the devil.
Do you think the locals are in on it?
Well, I don't know, maybe. But even if not, they'll never talk to me. They're scared I'll dig some skeleton out of their cupboard. You know, the smaller the village, the bigger the secrets. That's why I need an outsider to ask for me.
I understand. I'll try to find out something about them. Any advice about where to start?
Certainly. Ask around the village. Somebody must have seen or heard something. And it wouldn't hurt to ask in the inn in the glade, the one on the road towards Neuhof. I've heard they serve good venison, and no shortage of it.
That's clear enough. As soon as I hear anything, I'll let you know.
Thanks for your help, lad.
I'd like to make you an offer. I've been appointed bailiff for Pribyslavitz. We're resettling the place, and I need a huntsman there. What do you say?
Ah, Henry. I'm already Sir Divish's master huntsman. That'd be a step down for me. Sorry, but you'll have to find someone else.
May the Lord watch over you.
Jesus Christ be praised. How may I serve you?
I'd like to find out about the poachers round here who've been stealing game recently.
I'm sorry, but I don't have time. You could ask Martha, the innkeeper's wife. They say she heard something about it.
Good luck, then.
God be with you. What can I do for you?
I'd like to find out about the poachers round here who've been stealing game recently.
If you ask me, there's some questions best left unanswered. But go and see Elena if you're determined. That old gossip will tell you all there is to know. Goodbye.
God's blessings.
I heard you've got a poaching problem in the woods around here.
In the woods and out of them. Not long back the bastards hung a deer's head on the huntsman's house.
That's pretty brazen of them.
Certainly is. Word around the village is that someone wants to shame him till he squirms.
Putting a deer's head on the huntsman's house sounds pretty risky. Why would anyone do that?
Maybe they want to show that Huntsman Nicholas is no match for them. And they're not wrong. He isn't the man he should be.
Do you think it was someone local?
I really don't know. All sorts of things get said. Hare's back, if you listen to some, and others are going on about Tom of the Baths. They swear blind he's got his fingers in it.
And what about you?
It could be anyone. There's more than one that has it in for Nicholas. And who knows what the neighbors get up to by night.
What's so suspicious about this Thomas?
Just that he was drunk and blabbering about how he was going to bring back venison from the woods.
Tell me something about Hare.
He used to be master huntsman here a while back. But then Nicholas got him accused of a murder, and the Hare had to flee. It cost him the huntsman's rank and Margaret, too.
What happened between Hare and Nicholas, anyway?
Those two didn't get on from the start. And then that business with Margaret really set them at each other's throats. But it all came to a head about 15 years back, when Sir Henry of Lipa came to visit.
Sir Hanish's father?
Just so. There was a banquet at the castle in his honor, and in the morning they found one of Sir Henry's men-at-arms in the ditch with his neck broken. Well, Nicholas made sure that blame fell on Hare.
And what happened to Hare?
That's just it. No one rightly knows. They put him in the dungeon, but when Sir Henry's men came for him the next morning, he was gone. No one knows what became of him.
So how did Nicholas put the blame on Hare?
Nicholas always had a viper's tongue, and events made it easy for him. That evening there'd been a right falling out between Hare and the guardsmen. Blows were struck. Well, Sir Divish didn't want any ill will with Sir Henry, so he tried to settle things as quick as he could, and Hare got the short straw.
What was going on with Margaret?
Her father promised her to Hanneken, because they seemed a good match. But Nicholas couldn't stomach that, so he did what he did.
I want to ask about something else. Tell me something about Hare.
He used to be master huntsman here a while back. But then Nicholas got him accused of a murder, and the Hare had to flee. It cost him the huntsman's rank and Margaret, too.
I want to ask about something else. So why do people think Tom of the Baths is involved?
Ah, that's just nonsense. He was bragging in the tavern that he'd put on a venison feast for the village girls. Deer for the deers.
Did he?
I doubt it. He's all mouth and no trousers. But if you want to know more, ask my husband, the innkeeper. I wasn't here that evening.
That'll be all. Thanks.
God be with you.
My humble greetings. How may I serve you?
I'm here to find out about the poachers gang, and I need to ask a few questions.
Well, ask away. I don't have all day.
What in the...
I heard you were yelling in the tavern that you were off to hunt some venison.
Look here. I don't know who you are, but you should watch your mouth.
I will, don't you worry. So what happened then?
What? Nothing. It was just the beer talking. I got pissed and started spouting shit. Didn't mean a word of it.
Maybe not. That remains to be seen. That'll do me. I hear there's been trouble with poachers recently.
I don't have time to talk to strangers. Good day to you. See you later.
Is there something you need?
Good day, Henry. God be with you.
Wouldn't you like a change? We're rebuilding Pribyslavitz, and I could use you in the new tavern.
Are you mad? I got the best in the province, and no one to tell me what to do. Why on earth would I change that?
Isn't there any way you could be persuaded?
Not a chance. Find someone else. Good luck.
Would you know of any way I could earn a bit of coin around here?
As it happens, I was just going to tell you about a job.
So, tell me.
Now and again, the fisherman from Talmberg comes around here with some game to sell. There's more and more poaching going on there, and they're always looking for new people, if you're interested.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Then find a fellow in Talmberg who goes by the name of Black Lukesh. I think he lives on the hill above the castle. Tell him I sent you.
Thanks.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Henry! Stop by and see me when you got time.
How's trade? Any trouble around these parts?
Nothing we can't handle. Take care.
Will you teach me how to pickpocket better?
Certainly.
I'd like to hone my skills.
First, you have to have some skills to hone.
Well, I'll think it over. Andrew, the innkeeper, sent me. Said you had a job for someone who's good with a bow.
Did he now? That's all very well, but I don't know if you're a man I can trust.
So how can I prove it to you?
For a start, you can tell me why a lad like you wants to join us.
I've heard it could earn me some decent coin.
Yeah, that's what I used to think. Only it's not quite that simple.
Why's that?
You'll find out for yourself. Anyway, I have to check you out first. See if you're any good.
I'm listening.
To begin with, I need to know if you're at home in the woods. And if you're any kind of hunter. Bring me some deer antlers, and then we'll talk.
Easy.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
God watch over you. Good night. Especially in these dark times. Can I do something for you?
I heard there are poachers in the woods round here.
If only if it was just poachers. It's that sorcerer Hare. He's the one who's been running amok. I said he'd be back, and I said he'd be vengeful, and I was right both times.
Tell me something about Hare.
Ah, that was all years ago. He turned up here one day, no one rightly knew where from. He claimed up at the castle to be a nobleman's son, and so he got the office of Master Huntsman, and Margaret was promised him for his wife. Nobody could have known he was a sorcerer.
And how did his sorcery reveal itself?
Well, he was able to vanish into thin air in the forest right in front of folk. And I've heard it said he spoke to animals, too, though I don't know the truth of it.
That doesn't sound very convincing to me.
That's because you've not seen his marksmanship. It wasn't natural, the things he could do with that bow of his. They say he sold his soul for the gift of it.
I see. How did it go with Margaret?
I'm not one to gossip, but she was a flighty lass in her younger years. She could never make up her mind which one she wanted, the Hare or Nicholas. So in the end, fate decided for her.
What do you mean? What happened with Hare?
Oh, that was quite something. And then some on top of it. Sir Henry of Lipa was visiting here at the castle, and Hare snapped his guardsman's neck with his bare hands. Of course, they found him out. But how do you keep a sorcerer under lock and key? You can't. That's your answer. And that Satan's spawn slipped the net.
Oh well, it's quite a wild story. Any idea why he murdered the man?
No one knows, and most likely never will. But they say he was fully in the devil's power. There was a full moon, you see.
Was he actually seen killing the guardsman?
I suppose so. Else they'd hardly know who did it, would they?
That's probably true. There is one other thing I want to ask. Has anyone actually seen this Hare? He seems to exist only as a bogeyman to frighten naughty children.
Oh, he exists all right. But he flits around in the forest like a shadow. They won't be catching him anytime soon. But Blacksmith's Betty heard some of their goings-on in the woods.
Goings-on? What's that supposed to mean?
Cavorting and raising hell. Sorcery! Hare meets up with his sorcerer's apprentices, and they feast in the clearing in the woods. In the morning, they turn into ravens and scatter. Or so she says. But you'll have to ask Betty for more. Who knows what she saw? Or what she was doing there with them?
Very well. I'll ask. Who does Hare want revenge on?
Master Huntsman Nicholas, of course. When the Hare disappeared, Nicholas took his Margaret and the huntsman's posting.
So Nicholas came out of it well?
That one always knew how to land on his feet.
Tell me something about Hare.
Ah, that was all years ago. He turned up here one day, no one rightly knew where from. He claimed up at the castle to be a nobleman's son, and so he got the office of Master Huntsman, and Margaret was promised him for his wife. Nobody could have known he was a sorcerer.
Well, I should be going. Thanks for the chat.
Not at all. I always like a good chin wag. Good luck, then.
Hey,
Can I help?
hey. Mother of God.
God save, what can I do for you?
I'd like to find out about the poachers round here who've been stealing game recently.
I don't know any.
No, I didn't mean it like that. I just wanted...
I said I don't know any. If you want to know anything, go see blacksmith's Betty. She saw them feasting in the woods.
Feasting?
That's all I know. But don't worry, she'll talk your ear off. Good luck then.
God be with you. Do you need anything?
I'd like to ask you about Hare.
I'm sorry, but I really don't want to talk about that.
The thing is, every time I spoke to someone about Hare, they always ended up talking about you.
But I don't.
You aren't to blame for anything, is that it? Well, I am willing to believe you, but you do know more than you're telling, and I need to hear it.
Very well. You're right. And what would you like to know about Hare?
How were things between you and Hare back then?
There was nothing between us. Hare impressed my father with all his talk of noble blood. But I couldn't stand him, and I didn't want to marry him. And then it made no odds after he ran away.
So you didn't want him? I only asked because I've heard differently.
That's village talk. Of course folk gossip. Mostly they just want to hurt Nicholas.
Did Hare really commit the murder?
God in heaven, how should I know? Anyway, it doesn't matter now.
That remains to be seen. That'll be everything.
Good luck then.
I'd like to ask you about Hare.
I'm sorry, but I really don't want to talk about that.
That'll do me.
Goodbye.
Greetings. What do you need?
I've got a few questions about these poachers.
So ask.
I heard you saw something fishy in the forest.
That's right, I did.
Can you describe what you saw?
It was after dark, I remember that. I went up past the castle along by the clearing, and I saw someone had lit a fire, and there were figures singing and dancing, and I could hear the whistling of a pipe. And I could smell roast meat. It was like a feast of some sort. Only I thought maybe it was some witch's Sabbath, so I was afraid to stay too long in case they saw me.
Did you recognize anyone there? Someone from the village, maybe?
No. Like I said, it was dark. All I could see was shadowy figures moving around.
Did you hear any familiar voices?
No. But I heard girls' laughter, goblets clinking, a piper playing. It sounded just like any feast.
Where is the clearing?
A short walk north of the castle. There's a track past the woodcutter's camp that takes you there.
Thanks. What do you make of this poaching that's been going on?
It's clear as day. Hare's back. And putting those antlers on Nicholas's house? Well, we all know what that means, don't we? It's the sign of a cuckold, you mark my words.
You mean to say his wife's cheating on him?
All I'm saying is she might be feeling the urge. It happens in the best of families.
Well, You're the first who's certain of Hare's return. So far, I've just heard vague rumours.
Well, now, I wouldn't say I'm completely sure. I suppose some other mischief maker could have done it, but better the devil you know. And everyone hereabouts knows Hare.
You were singing a different song not long ago.
So? Why do you want to know so much, anyway?
It's nothing to you, but I'm helping Nicholas unmask that local poaching gang.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, now you know. And you also know not to keep anything from me. So, what's the story with that Hare?
All right, I'll tell you what I know. But promise not to tell Nicholas I said it.
I'll do what I can, but I need to let him know what I discover. So, out with it.
It's to do with Margaret, his wife. They say it's all because of her.
Keep going.
I know full well Hare's here, because Margaret admitted as much.
What did she tell you?
That he waited in the woods till she came by and they exchanged some words. Words was all she told me. Who knows what they actually got up to.
And what did they speak about?
I don't know, but if Nicholas knew they'd met, he'd most likely kill her.
You're sure she wasn't saying it in jest?
Oh no, Margaret wouldn't joke about something like that.
Who's this Hannekin Hare, anyway?
Hannekin Hare? There was a time he was master huntsman here, and Margaret was set to be his wife. But then he got himself accused of murder, and fled before they could hang him. Margaret and his job both ended up going to Nicholas.
So what's the story between Hare and Margaret?
It was complicated. He wanted her and she wanted him too, I reckon. At least for a while. But then she hitched up with Nicholas and now she says she never had a thought of wedding Hannekin Hare.
So what went on between Hare and the huntsman?
Those two? There was no love lost between them from the moment Hare arrived. And then Margaret got involved. It was a messy business.
Well, you're the first who's certain of Hare's return. So far, I've just heard vague rumours.
Well, now, I wouldn't say I'm completely sure. I suppose some other mischief maker could have done it, but better the devil you know. And everyone hereabouts knows Hare.
Stop trying to wriggle out of it. Do you realise who I am?
Not really.
But you know who Radzig Kobyla is, right?
Of course.
I'm his right-hand man, and I'm helping the huntsman catch the poachers. So, I'm not someone you should be messing around.
All right, I'll tell you what I know. But promise not to tell Nicholas I said it.
I'll do what I can, but I need to let him know what I discover. So, out with it.
It's to do with Margaret, his wife. They say it's all because of her.
Keep going.
I know full well Hare's here, because Margaret admitted as much.
What did she tell you?
That he waited in the woods till she came by and they exchanged some words. Words was all she told me. Who knows what they actually got up to.
And what did they speak about?
I don't know, but if Nicholas knew they'd met, he'd most likely kill her.
You're sure she wasn't saying it in jest?
Oh no, Margaret wouldn't joke about something like that.
Do you think Hare really killed that man?
Who knows the truth of it now? I did find it all a bit odd. Hare never was much of a hothead. But then again, no one really knew him that well. And Margaret never wanted to speak of it. Wouldn't hear a word about it.
That's all I need. Thanks.
God be with you.
I'm honoured that you should come to me.
I'm here to find out about the poachers gang, and I need to ask a few questions.
Well, ask away. I don't have all day.
Blacksmith Betty saw people feasting in the woods, and she says there was a nice smell of venison. What do you know about it?
Nothing. I wasn't there.
And I don't suppose you'll tell me who was?
No, because I wasn't there.
That'll do me.
Good luck to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
God be with you.
Let's talk about the price.
All right, so?
What do you say to this?
That's a poor offer.
My last offer.
Well, a little more and we'll call it a deal. Finally, a reasonable sum.
Henry! Stop by and see me when you got time. Henry, I'm glad you...
Good day.
One dear. Ale.
Good health to you. Good luck then.
I'm honored that a knight such as you takes an interest in me.
I'd like to find out about the poachers round here who've been stealing game recently.
Don't ask me. Talk to the blacksmith's Betty. She's the one who claims she saw them feasting in the woods.
I see. Thanks. I'll go and ask.
God be with you.
God grant you health. How may I help you?
I'd like to find out about the poachers round here who've been stealing game recently.
What about them?
Well, I wondered if you've got any idea who might be doing it.
Tom of the Baths was mouthing off in the tavern, that's all I know. Good luck then.
God save you, good knight. What can I do for you?
I'd like to find out about the poachers round here who've been stealing game recently.
I don't have time for gossip. If that's what you're after, go and speak to Elena. You'll find her in the fisherman's hut by the pond. Farewell.
Goodbye.
God grant you health. How may I help you?
I'd like to find out about the poachers round here who've been stealing game recently.
I don't know anything about it.
you, Henry.
But if I were you, I'd speak to Martha, the innkeeper's wife. She knows all the goings-on around here. You can find her at the tavern. Farewell.
What do you need?
I'd like to find out about the poachers round here who've been stealing game recently.
I don't know anything about that, but if it's gossip you're after, go and speak to Brada, the tanner. He always spins a good yarn. You'll find him at the end of the village, the last house on the way to the court.
Goodbye.
Good health to you.
I'd like to find out about the poachers round here who've been stealing game recently.
What about them?
Well, I wondered if you've got any idea who might be doing it.
Tom of the Baths was mouthing off in the tavern, that's all I know.
God be with you. How's trade? Any trouble around these parts?
Nothing we can't handle.
See you later.
Take care now.
God's blessings. What can I do for you?
Goodbye.
God almighty, has something happened to you? Did someone steal your fancy clothes?
I need to ask you something about the poachers.
What? Me? Why me, for Christ's sake?
Some folk had themselves a feast in the woods recently, and the people who passed by told me they heard a piper playing. You weren't by any chance there, were you?
I was. I don't deny it. But nothing disreputable went on there.
If you're innocent, lying won't help you.
I don't know what you want from me. Nothing wrong went on in that clearing, and I certainly don't go poaching in the woods.
But you do know something about it, and you're keeping it from me. Covering up for a friend, is that it? Very well. Loyalty is a fine thing, but once they discover who did it, then it'll be too late. You'll be right in over your head, with him.
But I haven't done anything.
Then you have nothing to fear if you tell me what happened.
All right. Yes. There was venison being eaten, but I didn't bring it. Thomas brought that there.
So all that bragging when he was drunk was more than just hot air?
I don't know where the deer came from. After what happened in the tavern, Tom took me to the forest to this hide there. But I was too worried someone would catch us, and I took off.
You did yourself a favour. Thomas isn't going to get away with this.
See you later.
What was that?
God save. What can I do for you?
I'm here to find out about the poachers gang, and I need to ask a few questions.
Well, ask away. I don't have all day.
So, you're saying you've not been poaching?
How many times do I have to explain? I've never stolen so much as a rabbit. I was just in a tavern, bragging, that's all.
So, how do you account for my finding some deer antlers in your shed?
Well,
Come on, let's hear the truth.
all right. But promise me you won't drag me into anything.
Speak up and who knows? I might put in a word for you.
All right. The truth is I did drag a deer carcass there, but I didn't do the shooting. I was given it.
That's a likely story.
Honestly, not a word of a lie. I caught the poacher just as he was skinning it.
And who might that be?
I don't know.
If you don't tell me who it was, I've no reason to believe that story of yours.
Fine. Fine. He's one of the charcoal men. I've seen him taking the charcoal to the forge. His name is Radan.
There are plenty of charcoal burners around here.
He came from the charcoal piles south of here. If you follow the creek upstream, you can't miss them.
Well, you better pray I find him, because if you've been lying to me, I'll go straight to the castle. Understood?
I'm telling the truth, I swear. I'm sure you'll find him there.
We'll see.
God be with you.
My humble greetings. How may I serve you?
A fellow from Talmberg claims he saw you poaching. What do you have to say about that? Can you hear me? Don't you have anything to say to me about that?
I'm not a poacher.
That's not what I've heard.
But I'm not a poacher, though.
Did your friends tell you the penalty for poaching?
No.
No? Of course not. Because if you knew, you'd never have been foolish enough to get involved.
I'm no poacher.
No, of course not. You're the Pope in disguise.
What?
Oh, never mind. But just so you know, the local custom is to string poachers up.
I don't want to hang.
No? Then you better make sure they won't hang you.
How?
For a start, by telling me where I can find your merry band of poachers. Because maybe I'm jumping to conclusions, but I don't think you're the leader.
No, I'm not.
So, out with it.
They only take me along from time to time.
All right. But you know where I can find them, don't you?
Aye.
And where is that?
The clearing.
They meet in a clearing?
They camp there.
And where is the clearing?
A short walk from here.
Oh, Lord. A short walk where? Do you know how many clearings there are in these woods?
No. Sorry, I don't know.
Oh, my God. Where is the clearing they camp in? How do I get there?
Along the trail, from the huntsman's lodge. Go into the wood by the big broken tree, eastward.
Very well. I hope I can find it.
God be with you.
Good health to you.
I'd like to ask you about Hare.
I'm sorry, but I really don't want to talk about that.
Listen, I know the Hare is here, and I know you spoke with him. And if you don't want your husband to find out, you better start talking.
Wait! You can't say something like that to Nicholas. God knows what he'd do.
It's in your hands whether I tell him or not.
All right, all right. What do you want to know?
What did you talk about in the woods with Hare?
I see Betty's mouth's been busy.
Don't blame her. I had to work hard to weasel it out of her. Now tell me.
Oh, all right. Well, it seems Hare's exile has addled his brain. He told me he'd go off with me, that he still loves me and nonsense like that.
And what about you?
What do you mean? I was so shocked, I couldn't even scream.
Is that all he told you?
He said if I change my mind, I'm to hang a garland of forget-me-nots on the house and wait for him at that place of ours.
Where was it you saw him exactly?
I wish I could tell you. The whole thing was like a fever dream. I almost got lost trying to get out of the forest. Even if I remembered, it wouldn't be any use to you. Hare moves through the forest like a ghost. He knows every tree root off by heart.
I want you to hang that garland on the lodge.
But I don't want to go anywhere with him.
You don't have to go anywhere. But tell me, where's that secret meeting place of yours?
On the way to Ujits. Back then, we used to meet by the great big beech tree, right next to the wayside shrine. There's a lovely view there, you see.
And what time will he be waiting there for you?
At dawn. What are you going to do to Hare?
Never you mind. The main thing is it will all get sorted out. And that's all that matters, isn't it?
I suppose so. Very well, then. I'll hang the garland for you.
That'll be everything.
May the Lord watch over you.
I'm glad to see you.
I've been hearing some quite wild stories about Hare.
People do prattle on. It happened a long time ago, and I've heard some crazy tales myself.
And what's your version of what happened?
Hare was a stuck-up knob. He came here with nothing to show but his bare arse. But he thought he could have anything he pointed at. All because he was of noble stock.
Whatever became of him?
Oh, you must have heard. He killed one of the armed men that served Sir Henry of Lipa, and they sentenced him to hang. Except he scapered right out of the castle dungeon.
How did he manage that?
Nobody knows, but I'll bet he had help from someone up at the castle.
I heard that he was a sorcerer.
And I've heard there's blooming roses on Radzig gallows at Christmas. A sorcerer. Bah! Hare was a ruffian, but there was nothing supernatural about it.
And what was your wife's role in all this?
He had his eye on her, and she didn't want him. That's all. And it had nothing to do with what happened later.
That's all I need. Thanks.
May the Lord watch over you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm guessing Nicholas won't be joining us. Who the devil are you?
I thought you wanted to meet up with Margaret.
Fortunately, I'm not that much of a fool anymore. I was hoping I'd tempt Nicholas out of his lair. But let's get to the point. Who are you, and what are you doing here?
My name is Henry, and I work for the Master Huntsman.
So are you going to arrest me?
I am.
All I ask is that you listen to me first.
Why should I listen to you?
Because if you care about justice, you're after the wrong man.
Anyone can say that.
And that's precisely why the accused should get a proper hearing.
Let me guess. You're going to tell me you're innocent?
I wouldn't presume. I've been poaching on the Divish estate, and I'll take the punishment I deserve. But the crime I was nearly strung up for, that one I didn't commit.
Who are you, anyway?
Let me introduce myself. My name is Hare of Zalush.
The nobleman?
I used to be. My house became sadly impoverished, and I became the master huntsman at Talmberg.
Gamekeeper turned poacher? I see. That's quite a transformation.
Nicholas gave me no choice.
What happened to your family?
My father lost his influential friends and the money with them. After his death, I inherited only his debts. There was nothing for it but to sell off all our possessions, see to my sister's welfare, and manage as best I could.
That sounds a rough deal.
Believe it or not, I never cared for the life of a nobleman. I spent my youth running free, hunting in the woods.
What happened between you and Nicholas?
I was falsely accused of murder. Henry of Lipa visited Talmberg, And the morning after the banquet in his honor, one of his men was found dead.
And didn't they have any cause to suspect you?
That's just it. They did. At the banquet, I got into a fight with the man.
I know Sir Hanush of Lipa. Was Sir Henry his father?
Indeed. He was on his way to Ratai to take charge of the fiefdom for young Sir Hans Capon.
Why did you get into a fight with him?
The fall of the House of Zalush was the work of the Lords of Lipa, and that fellow took great delight in reminding me of it.
And then what?
Nicholas began to pull strings. Several people came forward as witnesses to say they saw me with the fellow later that night.
Why would he have done that?
He wanted rid of me. We were both in love with the same lass, you see, and Margaret is his wife today. But back then there was no question which of the two of us would win her. I was the huntsman of noble blood, and Nicholas was just plain Nick. Her father's preference was clear.
Do you know who did kill the man?
No. He was found in a ditch with his neck broken. He could have tripped and fallen, all on his own.
And that never occurred to anyone?
It did. But some people swore they'd seen us jostling on the drawbridge. Of course, that was Nicholas's work.
What did Margaret think of you?
She took me for a fool. She only had eyes for Nicholas, but I didn't see it then. In the end, she could have saved me.
How?
She could have told the truth. After the banquet, I was with her. But when they asked her, she said she hadn't seen me that night.
How did you get out of it?
What leads you to imagine I did?
Your head's still on your shoulders, so you must have escaped somehow.
I'm alive. But my name and my family's name has been dragged through the mud. For me, that's worse than the sentence waiting for me.
If you say so. But you still managed to get away.
Well, it's true I had the good fortune to escape from the dungeon.
An interesting story.
I can't complain of boredom. The question is, will anyone believe me?
And how did it happen?
It's a long story.
I've got time to listen.
All right. But for you to understand, I have to start from the beginning. I was born as Hare of Zalush, the eldest son of Sidney of Zalush. My house became sadly impoverished, and I became the master huntsman at Talmberg.
Gamekeeper turned poacher. I see. That's quite a transformation.
Nicholas gave me no choice.
What happened between you and Nicholas?
I was falsely accused of murder. Henry of Lipa visited Talmberg, and the morning after the banquet in his honor, one of his men was found dead.
And didn't they have any cause to suspect you?
That's just it. They did. At the banquet, I got into a fight with the man.
And then what?
Nicholas began to pull strings. Several people came forward as witnesses to say they saw me with the fellow later that night.
Why would he have done that?
He wanted rid of me. We were both in love with the same lass, you see, and Margaret is his wife today. But back then there was no question which of the two of us would win her. I was the huntsman of noble blood, and Nicholas was just plain Nick. Her father's preference was clear.
How did you get out of it?
What leads you to imagine I did?
Your head's still on your shoulders, so you must have escaped somehow.
I'm alive. But my name and my family's name has been dragged through the mud. For me, that's worse than the sentence waiting for me.
If you say so. But you still managed to get away.
Well, it's true I had the good fortune to escape from the dungeon.
From the Talmberg dungeon? That can't be done, can it?
It's not too hard when the lord of the castle himself helps you escape.
So Divish set you free? From his own dungeon?
He couldn't offend Henry, so he had to lock me up. But he trusted me. We were friends, after all. He led me out of the castle in the night. I was given a good horse, and in a couple of days I was in Silesia. And that was the end of it. At least until now.
Even if I believed you, there's no proof. It all happened a long time ago.
I know. But if I didn't believe in my own innocence, I'd have to be crazy to have done what I did.
Why?
If I truly were guilty, why would I risk coming back to Bohemia? I could have died in peace as a rich man in the pay of the Jagiellonians. Only a fool would come back.
Nicholas took everything you had, regardless of your guilt or innocence. I'd say you have more than enough cause to want revenge.
I'm not like him. Anyway, you're right. I don't have any proof of my innocence. All I can give you is my word.
This is one of the most insane stories I've heard lately.
That doesn't surprise me.
Something tells me you're speaking the truth, Anakin Hare.
Thank you. And if you want to help me, come to the old mine gallery in Broad Woods.
I'll be there.
I have a plan, but I need some help.